Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The invisible threads of trade and diplomacy shape our world more than we realize. Lately, I've noticed a significant shift, a realignment in global trade that's quietly changing the balance of power. 11 countries are now turning away from the US, choosing Canada as their new trade partner. This isn't just about numbers, it's about trust, opportunity, and a new era in North American influence. Why is this happening? What does it mean for America's economy and global standing? The answers are complex but crucial to understand. Today, let's break down this seismic shift, country by country. Let's dive in. Mexico, once America's most reliable trade partner, is quietly pivoting toward Canada. Political unpredictability in the US has pushed Mexico to seek stability elsewhere. Canada's consistent policies and calm rhetoric make it an appealing alternative. The two countries are aligning on clean energy, automotive manufacturing, and agri-food, building a new North American supply chain. Canadian investment is surging in Mexican renewables and manufacturing. Trade growth between Mexico and Canada now outpaces that with the US, especially in high-value sectors like aerospace and technology. This isn't a break, but a strategic diversification. For America, it's a wake-up call. Our closest relationships can't be taken for granted. The question is, can we rebuild the trust we've lost? Mexico's shift is a sign of how we're now perceived on the world stage. The landscape is changing fast. While US-China trade tensions dominate headlines, Canada has quietly become China's preferred North American partner. China finds Canada's resources and political climate far less risky than the US. Canadian exports, soybeans, canola, minerals, are increasingly replacing American goods in China. Canada's trade with China is rising, while US-China trade remains volatile. The long game is underway, and Canada is playing it well. Germany, Europe's industrial powerhouse, is rethinking its transatlantic ties. The energy crisis exposed Germany's need for stable democratic partners, and Canada fits the bill. Chancellor Scholz's hydrogen deal with Canada signaled a major pivot. Europe's engine is rerouting and the economic map is being redrawn. Japan, long America's Pacific ally, is now deepening ties with Canada. The US withdrawal from the TPP left a leadership vacuum. Japan and Canada filled it, creating the CPTPP. Japanese investment in Canadian agriculture, energy, and tech is surging. Canadian beef and canola now have preferential access to Japan, while American farmers face higher tariffs. Japanese firms see Canada as a stable base for North American operations, insulated from US political swings. The CPTPP has fundamentally reshaped Pacific trade, with Canada and Japan at its core. America's absence from this bloc is a strategic misstep, leaving us on the outside looking in. Japan's pivot is a quiet rebuke, showing the world will move forward, with or without US leadership. The lesson reliability and engagement matter more than ever. The Pacific is tilting north. The US-UK special relationship is being tested as the UK redefines itself post-Brexit. While a US-UK trade deal stalls, Canada has stepped in as a preferred partner. Shared history, legal systems, and Commonwealth ties make business easier between the UK and Canada. The UK quickly secured a trade agreement with Canada, ensuring stability as it left the EU. Both nations are now key members of the CPTPP, deepening their economic alliance. Sectors like finance, tech, and green energy are thriving between London and Toronto. Canadian firms are gaining ground in the UK while US companies wait on stalled negotiations. The UK is making pragmatic choices and Canada is proving to be the more agile, stable partner. Nostalgia isn't enough. Future-facing industries are driving this new bond. The special relationship is being quietly redefined. Brazil, South America's economic giant, is forging a new partnership with Canada. Shared priorities, environmental protection, and sustainable development are at the heart of this shift. Canada is investing in Brazil's green projects, while Brazilian agriculture and aerospace are finding new Canadian partners. The Mercosur-Canada free trade talks could give Canadian goods a major edge in Brazil's vast market. Canadian technology and expertise are in high demand, especially in mining and agri-tech. This partnership bypasses the US, creating new supply chains and centers of influence in the Americas. For the US, it's a challenge to our traditional dominance in the region. Brazil's pivot signals a new era of independence and diversified alliances. America is no longer the only or even the most attractive partner in our own hemisphere. India, the world's largest democracy, is strengthening economic ties with Canada, even as its strategic partnership with the US grows. Canada's large Indian diaspora creates natural business and investment pathways. Trade talks between India and Canada are advancing, while US-India negotiations remain stalled. Canada is supplying India's resource needs, from potash to lentils, while India's IT and pharma sectors expand into Canada. This complementary relationship is moving fast, giving Canadian firms a first-mover advantage. The US risks being boxed out of key sectors as India pragmatically diversifies. Even our closest allies won't wait for us to resolve internal debates. They'll move forward with ready partners. India's pivot shows that economic agility is as important as military might. The ground is shifting under America's feet. South Korea, a tech powerhouse and US ally, is diversifying its economic bets. And Canada is the big winner. Supply chain resilience is the driver. Canada offers critical minerals and a stable environment for Korean industry. The two countries are collaborating on AI, clean tech, and life sciences, with Korean giants investing in Canadian R&D and manufacturing. Major deals like EV battery plants are shifting jobs and investment north. High-level meetings and new agreements are weaving their economies closer together, independent of the US-Korea axis. For the US, every new plant in Canada is a lost opportunity. Even our closest military allies are making economic choices that don't always put America first. South Korea's shift is pragmatic, and a sign we need to work harder to stay central. The world's tech giants are looking north. France, with its proud independence, is building a deeper economic bond with Canada, especially French-speaking Quebec. The cultural and linguistic bridge makes Canada a natural entry point for French businesses. The EU-Canada trade deal, CETA, has eliminated tariffs and opened new opportunities, with French companies leading the charge. French investment is booming in Canadian aerospace, tech, and luxury goods. France's vision of European strategic autonomy fits perfectly with a strong Canadian partnership. For the US, this is part of a broader trend. European allies are seeking multiple centers of influence, not just Washington. France's pivot is a quiet challenge to US leadership, one deal at a time. The Western world is becoming multipolar. Australia and the US are close allies, but Australia is now betting big on Canada for its economic future. Both countries are resource-rich middle powers navigating between the US and China. Their partnership is anchored in the CPTPP, a trade pact the US abandoned. Australian pension funds are investing heavily in Canadian infrastructure, while Canadian mining firms expand in Australia. They're coordinating in global forums, amplifying their voices as like-minded partners. Australia's economic strategy is increasingly built around Canada, not the US. Our security ties remain strong, but our economic centrality is eroding. Even our closest friends are hedging for a world where US leadership isn't guaranteed. The middle powers are rising together. Saudi Arabia, long a pillar of US Middle East policy, is now forging new ties with Canada. Vision 2030 is driving the kingdom to diversify beyond oil, and Canada's expertise in AI, clean energy, and mining is in high demand. Saudi investment is flowing into Canadian tech and infrastructure, while Canadian firms gain access to a vast new market. This relationship is pragmatic, focused on the future, not just oil for security. Saudi Arabia is building a portfolio of global partners, reducing its reliance on the US. For America, this is a stark reminder: our influence is no longer absolute. The world is making choices based on strategy, not history. Saudi Arabia's pivot is a clear sign of a new multipolar reality. So what does it all mean? 11 countries, from neighbors to rivals, are choosing Canada over the US. This isn't an attack. It's a pragmatic response to a changing world. Nations want stability, reliability, and new opportunities. Canada's quiet diplomacy and economic strength are winning the day. For America, it's time for introspection. Trust and reliability are our greatest assets, and they're at risk. The world isn't waiting for us to catch up, it's already moving on. The global trade map is being redrawn, and the aftershocks will last for years. The question now, Will the US respond or be left behind?